Good morning, everybody. RetroSetJoe here. And today we're going to do something a little different. I get a lot of questions about audio setup, seeing as I have a history in studio recording and general audio knowledge when it comes to microphone usage. I'm going to run you through right here. This is just a raw input from my microphone, and we're going to set this up to sound really good on your stream. So start by going to settings, and I already did this so you can hear me now. Make sure your mic auto is set up to whatever device it is you're using. I know a lot of you use Yeti microphones. I use an Audio Box 96 USB with a Rode NT1A mic. Next step, from your microphone, there should be a gain knob. Make sure, now this is set all the way at the bottom. As you turn it up, that you're not getting into the red, but you're in that nice input location, pretty much like right at the beginning of the yellow is a good spot. Anything more than like 12, which is, right here, is too much. You might want to practice speaking in I'm speaking in a regular tone like I would talk to somebody face to face right now, but for the sake of checking the mic, you might want to spike it a little bit, maybe speak a little louder and see what happens. There, it's up at 6. It's fine. It's not peaking. That's what's important. But if you're not okay with it being in the red, pull it back a little bit. We'll get ourselves check. We're right around check 9 there. So we're peaking right about here now. From here, there's a link in the video description that will take you to Reaper plugins. This is an important thing you want to download. They have a plugin suite. It's like 5 or 6 different things. There's 3 of their plugins you're going to use, and 2 directly from OBS. Anyways, your input volume being set first is very important. If the signal's coming in too hot, it's going to sound distorted at the end. You want to give yourself a lot of headroom. Headroom is anything above where your peak volume is at. So now that we've got a decent input volume, you're going to go to your advanced audio properties, and you're going to monitor, because you want to hear what you're outputting. So monitor only, mute output. That way you can hear yourself while you're doing this. You can hear what you're outputting to everybody. And already, it sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty clean. I'm in a pretty quiet room. I stream from my garage, which is also my music studio. I have a little bit of sound dampening in here. This is a new space for me still, so it's not perfect yet. So now that you can hear what you're doing, I can hear what I'm doing. You go back in here, you go to your filters, and you hit the plus sign, and go to noise suppression. I actually use OBS's built-in noise suppression because I think it's effective. In my room currently, there's not a whole lot of ambient noise, and it doesn't get noisy in here. So I'm going to set this at around -10. If you have a fan in your room, -20, -30 if it's really noisy. What this does is take ambient noises and pretty much just squashes them, makes them unable to hear. The problem with using too much noise suppression is it starts to affect your voice because, you're a noise too. So if I were to back off the mic and do this, you can barely hear what I'm saying. So I'm going to go with -10. And again, this part's completely subjective based on what you're doing. After you have your suppression level where you want it, go ahead and add a VST 2.x plugin. These are the real plugins, Realtek plugins that you downloaded and installed from their website. We're going to call this one Gate. This is going to be your noise gate. And you're going to go down to REA Gate -standalone and open that plugin. So this can be a little daunting looking for someone who's never worked with this stuff before. Most of this you don't touch, so there it is. As you can see on the left-hand side, there are these green bars. As they fall below where your slider is, you can't hear them anymore. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to put this up, and I'm going to speak softly, and you won't be able to hear me. And now you can hear me again, because I slid the slider back down below the green bars. So what you want to do with this is be absolutely silent for a few seconds. See where the ambient noise in your room has these setting, and then put your gate above that. Again, my room is very quiet, so that's unusual. Another thing you can do, you can see when I'm talking at a regular volume, my volume's all the way up here. Test to see where your mouse clicks are, if they're registering. See, if I tap my mouse hard, it's there. I don't usually tap my mouse that hard, so like right around there, actually got pretty good. And your keyboard even. So you can hear my keyboard. And that's some extreme keyboard tapping there. All right, there's that. Another thing you could do to further choke this down is high pass and low pass. So what this does is it changes the higher pitches and lower pitches that actually turn on and off your noise gate. Anything outside of these are ignored. You can choke it down, so you're definitely going to trigger it with your normal voice. The higher end sounds you kind of want to keep up. High pitched noises that you make will trigger this more than the lower rumbly noises you make. But now you can see when I'm not talking, the bars are almost gone. Another thing you can do here is release. What this is how long it takes for the gate to turn back on as you stop talking between words. Keeping this around 200 milliseconds keeps it sounding natural and not like you're cutting your voice off as soon as you're done talking. The rest of the stuff you really don't even have to worry about. So right there's your gate. Now we get into the fun part. This is where you start making your voice sound really good. You're going to go back to the VST2 plugins, name this one EQ, and then go to, where is it? Re-EQ-standalone. This is going to be exactly how I set up my audio for stream. You're going to want to take this first slider, make sure you click on the one, go to your frequency, and this is all kind of relative to what your voice sounds like. A female voice that's higher pitched, or even a male voice that's higher pitched, is going to adjust different frequencies. But nobody's voice is necessary below, let's say, 150 hertz. That's rumbling lowness that you just don't need. So what you do is you go here, you click high pass, and that drops the low rumble out of your voice. And then you can take this slider, and I usually take it to about 0.75. Check. And that gives you that nice deep radio sound to your voice. And then with 4, I do the same thing, except I go about 10,000 hertz. And instead of a high pass, you do a low pass. So what that does is allow anything below that point to pass through. And then I do the same thing here. Check. That gives a little bit of a boost. You don't want to boost too much. It just comes off sounding dumpy. And the only other thing I do is take the second channel, put it at about 450 hertz, and then I lower it. Cut out a little bit right there. And then I cut this in. So basically you're cutting between 400 and 500 hertz out. That's just kind of a weird frequency that I don't think ever sounds good. So from here, what you want to do is you can give it a little gain, because the next step in the process fixes all that. Let's go with 6. There you go. There's your EQ. EQ setup. Sounds good. You're sounding radio ready. And the next thing we're going to do is VST 2.0 plugin. Call this one comp or compressor or whatever you want to call it. REA comp-standalone. And then you'll notice this looks a lot like your gate. Very similar sort of a look. Now what compression does is wherever this slider is, it's going to take anything that goes over that slider and drop the volume of it with this ratio button. So 1:1, it's obviously, you can drop this down, doesn't do a thing. If you bring this down to your normal speaking voice below it, and then hit the ratio to 2, anything above that gets squashed down. Anything below that stays the same. So what this does is keeps your low volumes low and your high volumes low too. It brings all of your volumes together so you can talk louder like this and it doesn't blow your viewers' ears out. What I generally do is I find a quiet talking voice. I set it right at that. Maybe just a little bit above. Check. check. And then I set this to 5, actually. 5-to-1 ratio. Keep your attack at 3. Your release, you can drop that if you want. Check. So when I speak up, it really doesn't do anything to the output volume. But when I speak quietly, it's about the same. And then from here, you can take this and you can bump this up pretty much right below. So when you speak louder, it's right below the red. And now you've got a really good sound. You can put this on a stream and people are gonna be like, wow, that guy sounds professional as heck. So there you go. That's how I set up my audio. You can do the same. Be sure to like this video if it helped you out and consider subscribing. Don't forget you can catch me on twitch.tv/RetroSetJoe and at all the social media links in the video description. Have a great day. Bye-bye.